Dan, RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Finishing up the series of Agnes and myself. This is the 5th show. Of course, that was Pet Shop Boys. What have I done to deserve this? And we're calling this one We Have Moments Too. Agnes Vivarelli and myself. And we kind of get into some of the fun stuff that her and I have been through and sort of helped shape who we are and kind of why we're okay at this process. Constantly getting better, so I think for the sake of humbleness, I'd rather not assume I'm that good. But definitely been practicing this for a long time. So we talk about a lot of those kinds of things. So hopefully you enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll be going out with another great song at the end of all this. Thanks. And it's just funny because we do have a neat little energy amongst you and I. It's this is fun. This is fun.
Well, I get this unquenchable thirst with this subject. I cannot stop.
Right.
I can't stop. Every day it's like air and food. I need to talk about it. I need to focus on it. I need to do it. I don't think I'll ever stop learning and looking at this from 100 million different angles. It is just so fascinating.
Well, there's always something that we can go to next, some new horizon that we'd like to get to. It's like you're never done manifesting. It's like, okay, great, I got my specific someone. Awesome. Yeah. Now I'm going to plan a trip where we're going to go somewhere. Now we're going to go to Barbados or whatever the place of the day is.
Well, and on the subject of the specific person, once you get them, you got to maintain it.
True.
Because you got to not slide back in all your old, needy, crazy nut job.
I bet you hear that a lot of times, right? Where they're like, yeah, we finally got each other, and then we were hanging out, and then I snapped on him. And then they took away. It's like, well,
now he's gone, and I don't know why. It's like, okay, well, look back at, rewind, thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. What have you been doing?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's your answer.
Yeah.
And it is. Maintenance is challenging. Attracting them is challenging, but maintenance is challenging because you know what you did last time, and you got the fears of what if I do that again?
Right. In relationships in general, I think there's efforts that need to occur because it is a compromise. It is an energy thing, and we forget. I think we get very focused on our own little worlds and our own little things and what happened at work or whatever the case is, and then we come home and they're like, yeah, honey, you left your socks out. Oh, I have the socks out. He's like, whoa, okay, I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm going to go in the other room. You seem grumpy.
Yeah. Well, I had a thing yesterday with my specific person. I was relaying something that I had done. I'd met these people downstairs in the Airbnb pub, and we'd had a conversation and we had a lovely time. And, then there was one negative thing in the whole night. So I was telling him all these good things and then mentioned this one thing. And he said, he made a comment. Oh, I don't like that sort of thing. And I instantly, I could feel I had this reaction, and I thought, I just shut down. And I thought, what's going on? And I sat there, I was watching the TV, and I thought, I've had a really massive, firstly, I've interpreted this through my filter. And secondly, now I've got the shits. And thirdly, now I've got to try and dismantle this and not have, put more petrol on the fire.
Right.
And what had happened was, I remember doing that as a child with my dad. I'd say, oh, look at, I went to school and I did this, I did this, I did this. And then he'd pick on the one thing that you'd done wrong or that you hadn't done perfectly.
Right.
So I got this whoosh of, for F's sake, here we effing go again. This was going on in my head.
Right.
So I had this massive reaction, and I'm trying to just sit there and go, okay, you're having a reaction. This is the same stuff from that. So I'm trying to do the Ho'oponopono prayer while I'm watching TV. I thought, I've got to dismantle this.
Right.
Because he said, look, I need to, I have to be able to say what I think. I said, yeah, you do. And then I'm thinking, no, you don't, in my head.
Yeah, right. You're not allowed. Where'd that come from?
I thought, here's the maintenance.
Right.
This is an interpretation from my past. I made a total reaction from my dad in that moment. So what I did was I laid down and I did my Ho'oponopono, and then, it's all of a sudden I stopped blaming him in my head, because I was blaming him. I thought, if you could just stop doing that,
right.
I don't have, I did. I thought, you just stop.
And that's what most of us do. That's a key point that I think shouldn't be left behind right now, is most of us do that. It's their fault, but you realized it was you pushed out, and that's the key. That's the huge part. So go ahead.
And
Sorry.
normally, the good thing is these days I don't open my mouth. I mean, obviously, it was noted on the outside that my whole demeanor had changed. And I said, and I just said, yeah, look, just need to sit here. Thought just don't say anything because it'll make it worse.
Right.
So I just sat there and, luckily these days we just watch TV and I calm down.
Right.
And I deal with myself. And then within half an hour, we were holding hands again. But I thought, I don't even need to say anything about it because it wasn't about him. It was about me. I need to dismantle it. I need to dissolve it. This is how I maintain things that go on. And, it was such an old thing for me. So it's even today, still things come up.
And that's the good part too, because as you stepped through this little karmic pattern from your past, you've now healed that for the most part, or at least you're aware of it. You can heal it, and that's kind of what the point was. Like earlier in our show tonight or today is that's part of this plan. So here's Agnes, the world renowned specific someone manifester. And, even you are having times.
Well, that's why I wanted to share it, because people think that, once you've manifested somebody that you kind of walk through, walking, with a wand in your hand wearing a princess outfit.
Oh, are we not supposed to do that? Is that not
no?
Okay? Oh.
Well, you can if you want, but it doesn't happen in my case. Yeah. But I thought, this is the living in, a real situation where sometimes your buttons get pushed. And I could feel that first the blame at the other person, then this is you pushed out, that kicked in because I know enough now. And then I'm just going to breathe and do my Ho'oponopono prayer because I'm going to dissolve the part of me that created this. And then from that, thanks, Dad. Thanks for the legacy. Then blaming my dad.
Right.
And then going, your dad's been dead for nearly 9-10 years now. Are you going to let him off the hook because he's not here doing anything to you either?
He hasn't physically talked to you in 10 years. Hard to blame that guy. And that's a good point, because I've talked about it before. When we blame other people or when we point a finger at someone, you got three pointing back at you. And those are two great examples of kind of how you identify when you're doing that. When you're basically saying it's not me, it's them. It's like,
it's them.
That's three fingers pointing back at you. It's 100% you.
Exactly. And where I got stuck for many, many, many years, because I was going to Al-Anon, which is the 12-step fellowship.
Right.
And they taught at that time
that
in
you're
the
powerless,
80s and 90s.
That you can't,
Yeah, but also they teach you to say, when you do this, I feel X, Y, Z.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was okay.
Right.
It's blame.
And that's why you and I have talked about why we're not really fond of the 12-step program, because there's a number of steps. And, and just to qualify that, if it works for you, more power to you. My mom went through the steps and quit drinking for a number of years and then decided to get back into it. Whatever. You miss it. Whatever. But if it works for you, that's great. But from a standpoint of being spiritually empowered in your own life, taking power of your own life and starting to manifest things in your own life, when you're pushing off responsibility to places outside of yourself, you're missing the point. You're not grabbing the reins of your own life and riding and driving the horse, basically. Yeah. Or like
the thing is, Dan, I was in, I went to 12-step fellowships for 20 years. I actually believed when you say, when you do this, I feel.
Right.
I thought that was healthy. I didn't realize until probably in the last 18 months to 2 years, that's a blaming statement.
Yep. Well,
I didn't know that.
It's the same thing as, like you said, accepting that I am powerless to control my own life. It's like, well, huh? If I don't have power over my own life, who does?
Exactly. And which you and I agree on,
right,
in terms of, that's why I left, was for things like that. But like you say, it took me part of the way, and I'm grateful for what it did. But then there came a point where it was those kind of things that I could see. And it was only in relationship with men, and somebody saying, but you're blaming me. And I'm thinking, how the hell am I blaming you? I honestly could not see me saying.
Right. You didn't see it that way.
I really didn't. Yeah. And I think a lot of women don't. And that, it still amazes me how for 15 years I did that. And I thought that I was taking responsibility for how I felt. But it's like what it's saying is you did that, and so I feel. So therefore, it is blame.
That's what a buddy of mine and I were talking like yesterday or the day before, but that is one of the keys. And it's funny is like us guys, we're not idiots, right? And so this whole, I feel this way when you're having a discussion with your specific someone or your significant other or whatever, and they start throwing that I feel thing around. It's like, okay, well then I understand that I'm not really allowed to logically have an argument with this because it's your feelings. I can't step on your feelings. That's how you feel. But when us guys follow up with the, well, this situation makes me feel this way, it doesn't seem to get the same results coming from. It's just funny how
that's true.
There's almost a double standard, and maybe that's just, that's some of the baggage I bring to the table. These are things I'm trying to heal because I definitely have some things that I've had to work through as far as, I had a mom that kind of walked out on me when I was younger, walked out on me and my dad. So just right off the bat, the one woman that was supposed to stay with me forever left. So I've definitely had to work through and really, really work on self-love and being worthy for a woman and having a woman stay with me and be with me. And so these are all of us have our little things that we're working through. And you and I have come a long way, and like we could manifest parking places till the end of time. We could manifest money. We could manifest anything. But the relationship, there's that unique emotional attachment that comes with it, and I think everyone is working through that. And so, for those of you that are out there that are like, well, how can I make this better? We're offering you the best advice we know how to offer. And these are like, Agnes and I have made numerous mistakes for a reason. I think it makes us better teachers, frankly. But that is part of this,
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this.
True.
One thing that I'm curious about with you, because this is, so for years, 5 years-ish, you were manifesting your specific someone. And then you finally got out there where you're basically living together now. So you went from seeing each other a few times a year to being there all the time.
Only once a year when I was locked into a job that wouldn't give me more than 4 weeks off, which is normal. 4 weeks off is quite a lot when you're actually employed by somebody.
Well, and for people here in the States, they love all you countries out there. They give 4 and 6 weeks off, and we're like, we get 2. Now, I will say the company I work for, when we got hired in, I get 3. And at the 4-year mark, I get 4, which is usually at 5 years you get 3, and at 10 years you get 4. So I'm at a cool company, but here in the States we work way the hell too much. Yeah, and we think we don't.
But you know what, Dan? I mean, this just sounds insane, but I used to think 4 weeks. That's not enough,
right?
Because I felt trapped. I wanted to take the damn holiday when I wanted to take the damn holiday. I mean, that's why now I've created this YouTube business, because now I'm free.
Right.
But honestly, I felt like I was in a straitjacket. I couldn't stand. I could never agree with working for someone and they told me when I went on holidays.
Right.
I just thought that is bullshit.
Yeah. And when I used
I still feel that way.
When I used to work at a company that was a New Zealand-based company, and I did get to talk to all my wonderful Kiwi friends, and their 6 weeks off they got every year.
Oh, wow.
And it just blew my mind, us in the States that are working for the same company, and they're like closed down for, Christmas to like the 5th of July or 5th of January or something. We're like, we're still in the office. They gave us Christmas Day off, and we got New Year's Day off.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. Woo! Yay.
Yeah. Oh. But you know what? That brings up another point of we create what we get.
Yes.
And I know my more and more restricted I felt, the more and more the desire for freedom came out. And that insane quest for freedom. I've still to this day got this tiny Post-it note on my 15-year-old laptop, because I'm so attached to it and I know it so well, I'm refused to upgrade.
Right.
I've got this tiny little Post-it note that I've had on there for 5 years, and I wrote it when I felt really trapped, and it says, I am free. And I leave it on that laptop.
Nice.
It's come all the way from Sydney with me, all the way to London.
Nice. Every
Every time I go anywhere, I look at that and I think, you finally created that through your absolute restriction and feeling not just anger and not just a bit livid, but rage in the end at feeling trapped. I finally broke free.
And you're 100% right, because the time off and all
Yeah.
those kinds of things are still the same thing. They're us projected outward. They're us manifesting these things. So when we held these beliefs that I only get 2 weeks off a year, then that's the kind of thing you're going to manifest. But as you start to expand that freedom and expand who you are, then your life starts to change. And here I am finally at a job that's a little more freedom. And then on top of that, I'm expanding with this YouTube and voiceover and all this stuff too. And so, that ray of hope is eternal. And of course,
and you just started off slow. I mean, I did the same as you, Dan. I started it off like one YouTube every 2 months.
Yeah.
Now I'm about, I think at 4,000, just under 4,000 subscribers.
Yeah, you're doing awesome.
It's my full-time work.
Yeah, you're doing so amazing. And I'm growing ridiculously fast, relatively speaking, but I mean, it's still, I'm just blown away at how quickly things are growing, the responses I'm getting. I'm learning lessons in social media that I didn't realize. I'm having to be very careful about things. Yeah. It's just like there's a whole.
It's a learning curve.
Oh my God! And I was trying to explain that to my brother the other day. It's like there's so many things I did not know that if I would have just instantly hit 10,000 subscribers, I would have ruined myself. There's no way I would have been ready for that. So there is a process.
Dan, I've had people had their YouTube accounts shut down because they've done something stupid without realizing.
Oh.
So it's like growing slowly, I think, is a good thing, because it gives you time to sort of grow into it and get comfortable with it. And if you make a mistake when you've got like 50 YouTubes or 40 YouTubes or 30, it's not a huge deal.
Right.
But if you make a mistake when you've got 350 to 500 YouTubes,
right,
holy heck, that's a big thing to fix, know. So you get better. I think growing slowly is a good idea because, and people get to know you and you can interact with them. Because I know I'm getting to the point where
it's hard to respond.
It is. My YouTube notifications are taking me between 2 and 3 hours a day. It used to take me half an hour. Yeah. I'm now at the point where I'm going to have to start letting go of responding to absolutely every single one. And that's the bit that I think
it's hard.
It's the personal connection that people really enjoy. And I enjoy that too. But there's going to come a time once you've got sort of more than 400 YouTubes, you cannot keep up with the comments.
Right, especially when they're active, which is cool because that definitely kind of indicates that like these people are talking, and that's wonderful. And they'll hit the comments, they'll throw you an email, they'll do whatever, and you're like, oh my God, I'm getting stuff. And then for me too, like Reddit, and I got all these other places where comments will happen on there, and it's like I'm just spending a lot of time just trying to manage communications to people when it's hard enough to make a YouTube video often enough that I'm proud of. So it's like, man, this is taking some effort. So it's cool. It's a growing experience, and I think too, and I would say you probably agree with this as well, but I think it's really important that we maintain our humbleness, you could have, I could have, however many I have, and you've got your thousands, and we can eventually, we're going to end up in hundreds of thousands range, but ultimately,
but we're just people.
And we need to remember that we can't believe our own press. You can't believe all the comments you read. Like, some people are going to love you. Some people are going to hate you. I remember how excited I was the first thumbs down I got. I was like, yes, like finally someone thumbs down me. Yes. That's so awesome. Like, you actually hated me enough to put a thumbs down. Good deal. That's so awesome. So, again,
funny.
It's just that getting used to the fact that people are going to complain. People are going to be upset. There's trolls out there that don't like things. And then there's a huge number of people that are wonderful. That it's just, and those are the ones, like you said, that I wish we could spend more time with. It'd be cool if there was ways to do like little group sessions where you could get, 5 users.
Well, you know what? Speaking of, I've just started doing YouTube Live. Yeah.
How are you doing calls?
Used it. I'm not doing calls. There's just little comments that pop up, and if you want to interact with your people, you can interact. They pop up. You got to read it quick, and then you just respond verbally. Okay. So it makes it really fast interaction.
Nice.
I've had up to about 90 people on when I'm on live, which you just see the counter go. You see a counter go up, and it's like, wow.
That's got to blow your mind. Yeah.
It's fun because it makes you kind of, it's a bit like when you and I do a show. It kind of vibes off itself, and it's the same thing. Right. So. Yeah, I mean, the thing is you got to have enough topic. But then you can log off anytime you want.
That's true. And that's like...
So you're okay.
For me, that kind of like reminds me of radio anyway, where you're kind of doing a live broadcast, and there's a whole bunch of people out there, and, good deal. So that's awesome.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Well, we've done an hour and a half.
Yeah, we have. I think
Woohoo!
we've done a pretty good. I think a really good show.
Yeah.
Now, do you want me to edit? Or are you gonna? Don't worry about it, and you'll just push it up as is.
I don't know. Are you? Maybe we should edit because an hour and a half's pretty long.
Yeah, I was gonna at least
Yeah.
chop it into 3, but maybe 4.
Yeah,
So
actually,
I'll start doing that
yeah,
today.
3 or 4.
Okay.
Okay. You've recorded it as well?
Yeah, I've got a recording going over here. I don't have
Okay.
your version, so it's a little different.
That's
so I don't
okay.
know. If you want, I could figure out the times, and then you could give me access to yours, and maybe I'll just chop your version.
Sure.
It's up to
I'll
you.
send it to you now.
Because yeah,
I'll
the
just wait
timing the timing should be similar. So wherever I
Yeah.
chop mine, I should be able to just very easily write down those times and just go, okay, yeah, this
Chop
is
mine.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You don't mind?
No, it's not that
Okay.
big a deal. The hard part's listening to it enough times to figure out where to chop it.
Where to chop it? Yeah.
Outside, I mean, that's where, because literally, you got to listen to the whole thing, and then you start listening to it again, and you're like, yeah, here's a
Yeah.
good place, and oh, here's a good
Yeah.
place. So, okay,
Cool.
yeah,
Okay.
that'll work. Well, Agnes, thank you. Another
you
wonderful
too.
show, and you got all dolled up for me. I love it.
I did.
You look great.
Got to put some effort in for you, Dan.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well worth it for me, that's for sure.
Cool.
Thank you, Agnes. You have a great
Pleasure.
day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Alrighty.
You too, Dan.
Bye-bye. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to be doing another one. Agnes and I are trying to set something up probably the 3rd week of July. I've got to send her the date today just to make sure that works and that she can do it. But we're definitely going to be doing another show. If you guys have any thoughts or questions or comments, shows you'd like to see us do, either mention it in the comments or, of course, email me at danradiostyle@gmail.com. And we'll see if we can bring it up and make it happen. We're going to be going out with Dave Matthews singing You and Me.